We must read the signs. We must read the signs. We must read the signs. We gotta read the signs.
I'm with the Vaken Radio. We had an interview with Anthony Hilder. He's of the Free World Alliance, and he's approximately 7,000 interviews over the 30 past years, covering such the Illuminati, the Bilderberg, the European Union, and so on. And I was wondering a little bit, what do you think about the European Union? It's like here in Europe, in Sweden, we're totally powerless. When they want to do something in Sweden, they always, like us in the EU, it's like, it's strange. We have 27 commissioners deciding over the whole of Europe, and they call it some kind of democracy. But what do you think about it?
If you like what Hitler did, you're going to love what the EU is doing.
Yes.
Never in the annals of human history has so few done so much to hurt so many. If you take a look at the base of the EU, where did it begin? Where's it going? See that it originated with Adolf Hitler's book, The World Order. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, one world, one race, one ruler. The Swedes have no choice. They have no chance. They have no opportunity to be free and independent and sovereign as long as they're in the EU. It is my opinion that you must get out.
Yes.
EU is Hitler's dream come true.
Yeah, it's strange because the Swedish had a vote about the euro, the European currency, and we voted no a few years ago. But I think around 57% of the people said yes, but a majority of all the political parties support this. So it's big. About people, it's a quite big resistance against the euro and EU. But the political parties, like 80 to 90% of the politicians are for this EU. So it's a disbalance between the establishment in Sweden and the regular people. It's like democracy doesn't work. What the people think is not reflected in what they do in reality.
Democracy never works. Democracy is mobocracy. It's a majority simply ruling and going over the rights of the minority. It's choice, and choice is freedom. If you have a choice, you have a chance, you don't have an opportunity. When the monarchy, when the Illuminati as I call them, control a country, they control both sides of the political spectrum. They give you the illusion that if you go in one direction, you're going to be okay, and then it just turns out wrong, and the people will swing back and forth. It's an individual on a sailing ship. If you're going to go from Sweden to Hawaii, you're going to have to get the winds. So you literally go around the world, and you know what direction you're going in, and they know what direction they're going in. But the purpose is to shift back and forth and shift and tack left and tack right, and they get to their destination. It always appears like you're going in different directions,
yeah. And
it changes with the wind.
What I find strange about in Sweden that we have like a left and a right side. There's always battling, but they never talk about the important topics like monetary policies. Like the private banks in Sweden create 8 to 90% of the money in credits they create themselves, and all the time in the elections they talk about we have a huge national debt. But it's, the government, if they wanted to, they could print money themselves and use for work. But they also have to borrow it from the banks or have a huge taxation. But those
as we are talking, and I pulled out of an envelope here. So $1 trillion is $1,000 billion, and $1 billion is $1,000 million. On my hand, $100 trillion note. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. I used to live over there in Salisbury, which is now Harare, and it was Rhodesia then, and is now Zimbabwe. $100 dollars. Saying this will buy maybe a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, insane. Yeah.
In some countries, the currency became so valueless that they simply used it as fuel in the evening when it was cold. Burn it.
Yeah.
You cannot have in Sweden a currency that is borrowed into circulation. It must be stopped. You have honest currency based upon either gold or silver or food or any other commodity. And the currency was owned by the government and not some private banking institution like Rothschilds or the Rockefellers might own, like in the United States or in Britain. They have that independent currency by your nation. It's produced by your nation. And then the currency would be lent to the public, your citizens, where they buy property or they could build a business. And the interest upon the currency that is lent out, and that would pay all the services for the government. What then would happen is there would be no taxes, no property tax, sales tax, income tax. Income tax is the second plank of the Communist Manifesto. It's abolished. Sweden can exist without taxation. It's free, and the people of Sweden can be free. The people of Sweden must be free. The age is a Hitlerian system when the international banksters, and I call them banksters and gangsters, control your currency. They control your nation. They control your people. The people of Sweden should be the masters, and the government should be the servants. Because it become the masters, and people have become the servants.
It's true. I've been reading this book. I don't know. I have it in Swedish, but I don't know the English title. It's by Ellen Hodgson Brown about the banks and the spider web of the. I think the web of death it's called.
It's
yeah, it's a very good book, and it seems like in the U.S. A long time ago you had a system like you described, but then the private bankers took it over, and now you have to borrow all the money you use from the private bankers. You cannot. In US, you have the similar system to Sweden that you borrow the money in the U.S.
I used to date Ellen Brown.
Yeah.
Book. Another book called The Cure of Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Explains the monetary system. People across the world are beginning to wake up to the fact that Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are the people who are ruling the world. We should not be working for them. We should not be slaves to them and for them. You must have a currency. You must get out of the European Union. It is Hitler's dream come true. I have 3 films which I've done. One is Anthony J. Hilder, Live in London, British Constitution Group. Another one is called the Blackpool Directive, in individuating Barraclaw. And then the third film is done with Brian Gersh, and it is called EU Hitler's Dream Come True. And I would be happy to have you translate those into Swedish or any of the things that I have in Swedish and simply get them out. It's not the money, it's the message. That's why we make them. I'm doing about the first film, and certainly you can use pieces of it. I want the information to get out. I want to save Sweden. A lot of Swedes don't seem to want to save Sweden. And for the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers, they're servants for them, and then they, in turn, enslave the people.
Actually, the 2 top politicians at the moment, our Prime Minister and Prime Minister, they went to the Bilderberg meeting together with Wennberg. It's the powerful financial family in Sweden. They went there together before the election. So they